From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training podcast. I'm going to be one of the hosts for this episode. My name is Bill. Bill else is hosting.
I'm Vicky.
You are. You tend to be that way.
I do. I do often.
Almost every day.
Almost.
Can I make a podcast request?
Sure.
Can you turn off the Zoom eyebrows that you have on again?
Oh my gosh, right? They do weird things. I don't know how to turn them off. It's like I put them on and I have to go find out how to do it.
Well, perhaps we can put that on your to-do list. Anyway.
Yeah.
We've gotten, besides that, a couple people writing in who've requested to say, what are we doing and what are we up to? And I guess we started off doing this podcast. Let's go back in time. So let's go back in time. We used to do podcasts when we first started pre-plague, and we pretty much only talked about what we did. And then during the plague, we realized, hey, honestly, we're not doing that much because, we don't have enough opportunities to break our cars. So we're not racing, we're not HPDEing, and we're not fixing cars. So what are we going to do? So we started interviewing people. So anyway, we decided after a couple of people asked, we were going to have this could be short, this could be long. We're going to have an episode where we go over what we're up to and what we're working on and some of the craziness going on in the garage and the team garages. And if you guys like this, we'll do this more. If we hear from a few of you that say, hey, that was fun, we like keeping up, we'll do these every so often. We'll still do the other podcasts as well. But if we hear crickets, we'll also take that as a hint. And we may not do these again for another 6, 8, 9 months. But whatever.
It is good to know what's going on in other people's garages.
I know. It feels presumptuous to have your own podcast and talk like people want to listen to you. And then it's doubly presumptuous to talk about what you're up to. Like anybody cares. It's kind of like when you get one of those, Instagram photos of somebody's dinner plate at a restaurant.
Yeah. But listen,
yes.
You're on YouTube all the time looking at what other people are doing.
I know, but they're so much better than we are.
Well, we are in training.
So anyway, so today, besides the wandering eyebrows of my beautiful bride.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to turn that filter off.
Yep.
It's funny when like my daughter hops in and the eyebrows flip over onto her. But yeah, they look like they're dancing. It's kind of weird.
Well, you just had eyebrows on the top of your head, so it was kind of very distracting. So I won't look at the screen anymore.
I don't know how to do it.
So let's go with garage number 1. We had a day.
Oh. So yeah, we had garage one.
We're preparing for this weekend's event at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah.
Where I am instructing and HPDEing. And I was going in the Honda Fit, the B-Spec Honda Fit. I was looking forward to playing with our friend Marlon in his Mazda 2, the Deuce.
Yep.
And all we had to do was replace
the starter in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we put the starter in it, and what happened?
Oh no. Okay, so we were working on trying to put the starter in, and we didn't exactly line it up well with the bolt, and the bolt casing on the starter broke. Mm-hmm. And of course, I have a friend who is joining our garage, Jaden. And when we heard a crack, we just kind of froze and looked at each other and just like, what was that?
Can I do my duties? Yeah.
Sure.
Do you remember how much it was for us to get an alternator for that car?
Yeah, I do.
You want to guess how much it costs to get a starter for that car?
Well, I don't. And now I'm wondering that car is a great car, but parts are expensive on this particular model.
The great
Hmm.
thing is the car is cheap. The fit is cheap, but every part that we break is ridiculously expensive. Maybe we're doing something wrong.
Yeah. And and the thing was is that I don't think we really thought too much about the difficulty of putting the bolt in because we had difficulty getting all the bolts out. So we figured, well, maybe that's the torque pressure that had to be used to go in. And we know better now. Like, to be honest, this is the first time we're really working on the fit. So,
This is a
um,
2015
yeah, it's a 2015 Honda Fit B spec
full,
race.
full cage, full race car.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything should be good to go.
yeah. And then, we had an alternator. We thought we had an alternator problem, but we didn't end up having an alternator problem. It was a starter problem. So we're working on putting the starter in, but that's really not the worst of it right now.
So
Um,
after we heard the cracking sound, I quickly
yeah.
ordered one and had it FedExed overnight last Tuesday.
Yes. Yes. And then it got lost in transit
Yep.
temporarily, and then it was
Yep.
found again and made it today.
Mm-hmm.
Is it here? Is
It
it
is
that
here.
was sitting on the counter? Yeah.
It is
But
here.
but now the problem is that I have misplaced the keys.
What? Excuse me. Say that again.
Yes, I've misplaced the keys to the car. Now, granted, when I left the day, um, it has been quite a week, I must say, in the hangar. Um, that uh things have been going wrong all week. Orders have been coming in wrong.
Mhm.
The lift broke.
We're getting there.
Uh,
We're
yeah.
getting there.
Well, okay, we're getting there. So
So
anyway,
so part of
I left the
part
hangar exhausted.
part of my role is to organize
Yeah,
and keep things organized.
yeah,
So hanging on the side of the heater in the back,
yeah.
what do we have?
It is a key hanger. And the issue is sometimes is that I was really, really exhausted when I left the hangar. So I took the key and I tried to click it to make sure it was locked. It wasn't locked, obviously. Because we can get into it. But
Mm-hmm.
and then I hopped in the truck and I left. And I don't remember, I was that tired. I don't remember if I had hung the keys or put the keys in the truck with me and then carry them in. And usually I'm very good with the keys now because we have designated spaces for them. So, but this one was not good. So right now, as we were preparing, getting ready to put the starter in this fit, which I was actually bringing the fit around so I could start preparing it. I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
find the keys for it. So I'm like, all right,
So we're not doing the fit.
back up, back up. Um,
So earlier this week, you were doing a 5-minute job on it's kind of our version of a spec E46 where we had assistance from somebody who actually knows about race cars.
yes,
So it's
yes.
not quite a spec E46. It's probably
A little more, but not.
it's a little more in most areas except for the suspension where it's a little less. But it probably adds up to a spec E46, but
Yeah.
it's intended for endurance racing. So
Endurance racing for upper level racing.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, not lemons.
Not lemons. This is not a lemons car. So,
Okay, so when we were last playing the home game, when we were last at NJMP, we had a problem with this car, which was
it was the drivetrain.
uh-huh.
Not the drivetrain, the drive shaft. And I pulled the drive shaft on it and I took
Mhm.
it to a place literally had to run all over the place because every place has said that they did drive shaft balances. They were like, oh, we don't do that. So they finally pointed me in the direction which was closer to home.
Yes.
Spent most of my morning trying to find a place.
Maybe
And
that's where the
just
fit keys are.
right. And our friend who put this car together for us said he sent this car out to have the drive shaft done, and he wanted them to go ahead and check the CV joint on it. And obviously they did not because that is what was binding and failed. When I sent the drive shaft out, I pulled the CV joint also and just because it just made me feel better. I said, "Can you just check this?" The guy at the um, Fleet Pride, I think it is, was like, "Well, why don't I don't repair those or order those?" And I said, "I just want you to check it." So he goes, "All right." So he did. He goes, "Yeah, it was a CV joint was bad." So we got one in. You know, the drive shaft is on now. The exhaust system's back on, no problem. But with that one, I was waiting on a windshield fogging system because when we knew we had a crack in it, and I think the crack.
Oh, I know when the crack came.
When did the crack come on the windshield? Was
So
it when the hood?
we have a rule, right? We
It
have
was
this
the
rule.
hood.
There's two rules of the garage. One is when the cars are in the garage, windows are down, so we can't lock
Yeah.
keys in the windshield. And
Yeah.
two, when the hood is down, it's latched.
Yeah,
Now,
this one.
now this car has the, what are they called? Aero locks, I think, something
Yeah.
like that. Okay, aero catch, something like that.
Mhm.
So the hood was up in order to charge the battery on the trickle charger because it was sitting for the winter. And then I was, I drove it around to the other side of the hangar, and somehow the hood was in the down position with the aero catches in their down position, but not catching. So they were pushed down. So when I said, "Hey, let's see what the car's, got a little bit," because I haven't driven that car in a long time. I was surprised by the hood hitting the windshield and
Yeah. So that's
destroying the
probably where
hood.
the crack come. But when
No,
the
that's
drive
100% where the crack came
Oh
from.
yeah. So when the drivetrain was
Drive shaft.
or the drive shaft was rattling, it shot that crack pretty much across the windshield.
Hmm.
So anyway, the windshield was out, but I was waiting on a defogger system that we have on the windshield itself. And
The like a rear window, the metal
yes,
lines,
yes,
electrical resistance. Yes.
right. So I had ordered one from BMW thinking that's what it was. And it was a 12 line when I needed a 16 line. And I should have just talked to our friend who built the car and asked him where he got it. But
Or the Bible sheet that has it on it.
yeah, so but anyway, the windshield we when when we kind of said, okay, we are going to send this car now out with Bill to Mid Ohio because of the
But
kerfluffle
wait,
with the
but wait,
yeah.
you were putting the drive shaft in
Yes.
a 15-minute job. How
Yeah.
hard can it be?
Oh yeah.
With
So it
help.
was yes, I had my friend Jaden over. I was working trying to line up the windshield stuff, and I said if he and his brother could just put that drive shaft on, and he did, and I helped him with the rest of it, and it ran fine. I had him up on the
No more
lift,
vibrating.
no more vibrating. It actually shimmied. I had him go through. It didn't shimmy, but I had him go through the gears. So I said, "Listen, gear it as if you're driving it, and see, get the revs up on it." On the lift, and which was fine. I mean, it was fine. But then we tried to lower it, and we got down to like 3 feet above the ground, and then the lift stopped, and it was tilting. It was starting to tilt the car. So obviously, the latch caught on the other side. We went up to go take a look, and Jaden's like, "Oh, geez." And then we noticed that the pulley was bad and broke. And essentially, what had happened is that in our particular model, which is called a bend pack, and it has the hydraulics on top of the crossbeam. And it's designed for a narrow space, a narrow, tall space. That's why the hydraulics are up there. So it's a very sturdy, very great. People were asking, what are the reviews on that? Well, it's a 7,000 pound lift. It lifts 7,000 pounds. Right.
We
We
do
don't
anything.
lift more than that. And that's another thing that I wrote. Like if you had a 9 to 5 garage and you were doing lots of work in trucks and things, this is not the lift for you. But this is good for a hobby lift. And So we had gone up, and the way the pulley systems are up there, what had happened was that the bolt that holds on one of the pulleys had worked its way loose over time, and that's probably we've had it since 2020. So it was like a maintenance thing that had to get done anyway, but it worked its way loose, and while the pulley itself was wobbling back and forth, it wobbled out the bushing that was in there. And the bushing is what broke, that made everything pop off. So that now, I had another friend of mine come over, and he is a seasoned person that has worked around lifts and is also one of our race friends from a different circuit. And he helped me get this car off the lift, which was rising it enough to we can undo. I had to force the lift down on the other side, which is just basic hydraulics. But he had to be on the other side of the lift to release the catch with a small crowbar. And then the hydraulics brought it back down, which was great. But I have a friend, the guy who helped us put it in. He's going to go look, see if he's got a spare part. We have some other parts that are on order. It's a simple fix. He's going to get back to me. But now we are addressing the BMW. The BMW E46 is now what we are sending with Bill. We were just doing a repair work on it, but now it is going to Mid-Ohio while I search for the keys for the other car, which I will find.
I feel so bad that you have to stay and find the keys.
It's so sad. It's so
No,
sad, but
not sad at all.
No, I have some maintenance. I have house maintenance here anyway, so and stuff down the garage, and we're also very much in the middle of spring cleaning down there and purging and
It's
organizing. August. Yeah, well, it has to get done. The fall's a good time for that too. But anyway, so the windshield was not in because the defogger system was not correct. Another thing that had been a kerfuffle. So I did call. In our area, we have a great glass person. It's H&H Glass Company, and very reasonable prices. Great guys. I had called him, and I'm like, I'm in a pinch. I got a problem. I have to send this car. The glass was already waiting at the shop, my shop, because of the defogger system. They said, we'll just come back and pop this in. Don't worry about it. Just give us a call. We'll do it. So I was like, I got to put it in without the defoggers. And he says, I can't get there. I'm going to send my son. So he sent his son out. We got the glass in. So, and then I had to do repair work on the seat, which for some reason the seat bolts underneath were not tightened and the seat kind of fell apart. So
seat mount.
The seat mount, yeah. So I had to get in there and yeah, it is. I got both seats in. I got all the harnesses in. Now, when I was trying to put the passenger seat in, the hole in the driver's seat is much larger than the one in the passenger seat. So I did take a Dremel to it, and I kind of
you said it's larger.
The larger one is the driver's side. The smaller one is on the passenger side, the hole where the sub belt goes through. And it was really annoying. I didn't want to have to undo the sub belt to make this. So I just took a Dremel and made room in the vinyl that goes around the hole to make that come through. So I was doing that. That's what took me so long to come home. So it's all set to go. The only thing that we're having a problem with, guys out there.
The only thing? Have you listened to this podcast?
No, I know, but the E46 right now, the problem that we're having, and it's an issue. So we have been trying to find a passenger side mirror to fit, because the mirror itself has like the aluminum mounting unit that is on the inside. It's metal that attaches to plastic, and then it attaches to the frame.
Where the bolts mount the mirror.
Where you screw the bolts into the mirror. Mm-hmm. So that cracked and broke in one spot. So we have been looking for replacement mirrors, and every replacement mirror that we get for this E46, and we've gone through like 4 sets of them already, maybe 5, that every set that we are ordering, thinking we got it right, those holes do not line up with my frame on my car. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are out there with the E46 and are just trying to find original BMW parts. And what year is our car again?
Oh, one.
It's an '01. Okay. '01 E46 330i, right?
Mm-hmm.
So none of these bolts match up. And I'm not sure if you guys are using original parts for this or used parts for it. But I think we're just at this point where we're probably going to have to modify the body to line these holes up. And even then, the holes that are on the BMW, even if we do that, still don't line up. Even the makeshift holes. So I'm not sure what you guys are doing out there with the E46s, but if you have run across this, can you like drop us a line or an email or something to say, hey, this is what I got. You could anywhere. Just it's a problem that I'm having a hard time solving. I'm sending Bill out with the cracked mirror base on it. Yeah, it's going to rattle a little bit. He'll still be able to see out of it, but it is what it is right at the moment. Like I said, I have a lot of mirrors I have to send back right now. So
A lot. Like
yeah, I think
more
we
than
have
10.
about 4. No, yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we have about 10 that have to go back, 10 or 11. So because they're both passenger. He's buying them in sets. So, anyway, it's gonna go. I think that is the only thing that was left. Other than that, the car was running fine. Other than that drive shaft. So, so we'll load tomorrow for you.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on in the hangar. We have some more work we have to do
Well,
on.
that's not all that went on in the hangar.
Well, yes, there's more stuff. Go ahead.
We had one of our early model fits, a 2008. We decided we were going to pull the engine from that and then
Oh,
get rid of it. And Miss Vicky has comments.
oh my gosh, this thing. Okay, so we got this one. I don't know if you got it as a donor car. We were going to give it to my son's girlfriend. They've been dating for about 4 years, and she needed a car. We're like, well, instead of getting rid of it, we'll just go ahead. And they're just like, every time we turn the car on, it's like the wheels turn right and they just lock up, and not
Left.
that. Yeah,
Oh,
left,
that
whatever.
is unique. So if you turn the car on, if the car has power, the power steering will turn the tires left.
It's so weird.
It is so weird.
But anyway,
Anyway,
so we decided, okay, we're just going to scrap this car because, it's not in the best shape anyway. And, we took it down to a garage, look at it, like, it's not great, they said. So we were just going to make it a donor car. I got to tell you guys, the amount of rust that was raining off this car was enough to fill my dustpan bucket. Enough, it was the weight of a car part. And even when I dropped the car and took it off the lift itself, before the lift broke, of course, it left a 3-inch tall to 4-inch tall pile of rust on the mount of
pads, the lift pads.
Yeah, on the lift pads. I had never seen. It's one of those cars I keep saying that she would be driving down the road, slam on the brakes, and the whole top part of the car would slide off the suspension bottom part and just keep going.
It's not the Flintstones. Settle down.
It was terrible. And Bill's like, there's not anything on this car we're saving. The plastic is all you got. And even the plastic is kind of sketch. I think we got the hood. I think the hood was fine.
The engine and the transmission.
Yeah. And I'm looking at that, and they don't look that great either. So they're going to need a lot of love.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Yeah.
So now we're getting rid of that shell.
Yeah. That was
rolling/rusting shell.
Oh, it was so bad. So anyway, if we can find a title for it, that's another thing is that we moved. So all of our title work is supposed to be in one spot. Some things didn't make it to me or got shifted. I don't know. I've been through every stitch of paperwork that I could find so far. I have not found this title. But we could actually just have the salvage yard come out and pick it up for like $100, and just take it.
Same.
So Yeah, that's what we're going to kind of do instead of trying to get rid of it ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So
we're in the midst of a full garage reorganization. That's
yeah,
going pretty well.
yeah, yeah. It is. We're actually getting rid of more stuff. We're trying to streamline a little bit.
Mhm.
The other thing too is that we are working on at some point. It's probably going to be this winter. Is my son had got caught in a flash flood with his Toyota 86. The car does have good equity in it. Fortunately, as far as we could tell, is that um,
The air intake drank the water.
yes, and it damaged the engine, but it did not get into the cab at all. And the cab is where all the electrical system is underneath the seats. So we are crossing our fingers that once we switch this engine out, um, that we will
So
have a running car
so
properly.
we have a replacement engine sitting on the engine dolly and a
Yes.
car sitting waiting for the engine.
Yes. Now, a friend of mine was saying, listen, the people that looked at the car, they do gentle service on cars. So he was giving me ideas about, even if it might be a slightly bent rod, you're only going to be losing a little bit of compression, but you might be okay with the engine. Just pull the plug, shake it out, see what happens. We don't know how much actual damage it is, but we do know that the engine is toast, but not how much is toast. But regardless, we'll be doing an engine swap in the Toyota 86. It's a 2017.
Mhm.
So that's probably going to end up being a winter project. The
No,
engine,
we're going to do that before the winter.
well, I don't know. We got a very busy September, and then
What do we
we're
have
going
in September?
to we have the rally we're
Yeah.
going to be getting ready for. We have a wedding we're going to be attending,
Yeah.
and I am going away the 8th to catch up with the sisters. So we have 3 weekends that are going to be quite busy.
Wow.
Um,
Really?
and and
Uh-huh.
the other thing too is at the beginning of November we will be at NJMP and we will
Okay.
be getting cars ready. So
Anything
I can't
anything
fill
else?
up
Anything
the
else?
garage.
Anything else going on in September?
Well, school. We
Okay.
have schools going on, and Bill's birthday is in September.
Oh, hey,
Yes, well,
eventually we
you
get to
know,
my birthday. It's fine.
Bill's
Whatever.
birthday is September 3rd. Yes.
Anyway, thanks.
So,
Thanks for that top priority there.
yeah, so
Oh, and
September is busy. It's busy. Um, so then it's October, and then I think after the wedding, we're going to be preparing cars for our trip to NJMP. Um,
we
so
need RVs.
yes, we'll have to order some RVs. Apparently, we're going to have quite a bit of people going, from what I
Mhm.
understand. Um,
That's
which
all
will
you need.
be,
That's all you need to know.
yeah, he's not telling me much more than that.
Nope.
But it's going to be quite the hoot and quite the shindig. So anybody's interested in going to NJMP, sign up. We'll be there.
We're already signed up.
Yeah, I'm talking about everybody else. So
Oh,
we're going to be there.
we'll be there.
Yeah, so I have to theme a car for September's fall foliage.
Mhm.
Um, and I'll be going with my sister and my mom, trying to talk our good friend Audra into going, which, I think she's already like mostly there.
As long as you
And
get rid of those eyebrows, it'll be fine.
well, so I have to theme Jennifer's car, which
Hmm.
is what we're taking, which is
Hmm.
going to be another Honda Fit.
They
Yeah,
like they're like rabbits.
they are like rabbits.
Mhm.
So, yep,
Okay,
that
so let's continue. We're trying to give everybody a survey. So, just around the corner, we have parked a number 2019 ND2 Mazda Miata.
yep.
Is there anything we need to work on that one?
Well, I think we finally got the interior put back in it, which is great after many years.
Hmm.
Just never made the priority of it. Um, and I think for that one, probably just a little bit of service. We'll have to check the brakes.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I think Mia's spoken for that car,
yeah.
which
So,
I'm cool with. I mean, a first car, it's safe, it's new. She can only have one passenger, so that's good. And
it's
it's a manual transmission, so she won't be on her phone. So
yeah, but It is an older car. Technically, it is a cool car.
Older.
Well, it's
2019
not
is
older.
older.
It's not 2019, is it?
It's 2019.
I thought that was the Cooper.
It is the Cooper. And it's the Mini. I mean, the Miata.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So that one's in good shape, ready to go.
Hmm?
And then let's see, Liam, since he took his car and treated it like a straw and drank all the water, he has
I felt
stolen.
bad for him. I did. I mean, this poor kid, 22 years old, okay, so the story is that he left where he was to come home real quick, and it was rush hour. And when he left the area that he was at, it was not raining, and it was 20 minutes away. The rush hour coming home was a low area in our area, and he just basically said there was more water behind me than there was in front of me, and I was in rush hour traffic. I was stuck in traffic. I had no place to go. I could only go forward. And that's what he ended up doing.
Anyway, so he stole my car. So
Yes.
he's driving around in my Mini.
Hmm.
So, but there's one other car that's floating in our driveway. That's a recent
Yeah,
addition.
like we need another car. So,
I can give it back if you don't like it.
no, we have a 2023 Integra S series,
Type S.
Type S
Hmm.
manual.
Yep.
Yes. So that is, I think when I was telling Bill, like, if you're going to buy a car, then the only thing that I was requesting is that I wanted to do something much like our good friends over at Everyone Racers had done, and that was turn it, let's run it till we can't run it anymore, then give it its second best life. So that was my intention with this Integra that's coming.
And your initial thoughts on your Integra, my dear?
It is zippy and snazzy. I would have
Hmm.
to say it's a four-door hatch.
Hmm.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, so it's quite cool.
And your license
Um,
plate came in. So
yes, I do have that too.
mhm.
So yeah, that is the layout for right now that we're doing. Organizing the garages on top of it. Got to let stuff go. Please I told him we should legitimately have a garage sale and just see what we can get rid of because we have a lot.
we have
And
a hood. No, what is it? What's it called? The thing that goes on the back of a pickup truck.
oh
Cab.
yeah, the
Cap.
cab.
Cap.
Yeah, the cab
If anybody
cap.
has a 2017 black F-150, I know a guy who's got a cap for you.
Hmm.
If you listen to the podcast, it will be very cheap.
Yeah.
I
So we have to unload that. We have a couple.
think we used it 4 times.
Yeah, we have some stuff that's in the wings.
So
That is
and then we have some
probably,
project cars that
yeah,
we have to work through, but that's
yeah.
okay. And
But I am definitely getting better with the mechanic stuff. Definitely getting better with the mechanic stuff.
mhm.
Um, so now I was talking to my friend Randy, who is also mechanic and racing, and it's just very refreshing when you just cross over that threshold finally to when somebody's talking about cars and engines and stuff like that. You know exactly what they're talking about. So, um, it is quite cool. Now I just got to get my lift fixed because crawling around on the floor just sucks. It just really does.
All right, so that's our state of the sort of running cars, and then we've got a bunch of project cars that we're
Yeah,
we're
but
we're still working on. We can talk about those later.
yeah,
And
they're
then if you guys care, and we can also get into what our winter projects are. Again,
yeah.
if you guys care. If you guys don't care, hope you enjoyed this episode. Sorry about it.
Hmm. But you know what? The nice thing is that, we might have some project cars on the side. They run. They
Mhm.
run.
They do.
Um,
I don't think we're that far away from having only working running cars and no projects. I think we're
but
very
but
close.
my curiosity is, and I want you to address this, why do we have all the cars that we have?
Well,
Because we have a lot.
the cars we just talked about, we know exactly why we have those.
Why is that? Well, we know the BMWs for.
We have a car for BMW. The BMWs for AER and other higher level cars. The Honda Fit is for B-Spec.
Right.
And HPDE. The Honda Civic is for Lemons.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the cars are street cars that we've talked about. So unless you want to walk to the supermarket,
yeah,
we've got Liam's car, Mia's car, my car, and your car.
Yeah, we have some other ones that are in the wings, though.
Well, those are project cars that we didn't talk about yet. If you want, we can talk about them.
No, we don't want to talk about them right now. Okay. That's going to be a whole other.
That's another podcast, maybe, if people care.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why you would, but if you want to know, we're more than willing to talk.
Yeah, so that's what's going on with the garage right now. The other thing too that's very, very cool is that we're having a new electrical system put in. Into
the hangar.
Yeah, so that is like we've been about 2 months on and off with some of the hangar issues. We had our doors were had maintenance work done on them. We're having some more powerful lights put in, and the electrical that was kind of janky kept breaking fuses. The people that have purchased
the airport.
Yeah, the airport are running all new electrical through there. So they're going to give us some lights over some key areas and take out some other ones that are just not functional, and make sure that all of our outlets have proper power to them, not just we plug in one and it blows the circuit, which happened frequently. It was the dance of the outlets.
Yeah, it was. We got it down pretty good. We had the key, we had the combination, and then we would talk to each other over the phone as Vicky or I was flipping switches, saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Yep.
Yeah, it was entertaining. The good thing was it was nothing powerful. It wasn't like the lift went down or the welders went down or anything powerful. No. It was just like lights.
Yeah. So that was good.
Whatever. Can't charge our DeWalt batteries or whatever. So anyway, that's our current status of the cars we are dealing with, and then we've got some other stuff we can talk about if you guys care, and we will let you know in a future episode. Is there anything I forgot, Miss Deer?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. So episode, let's see, what are we talking about? We're in August of 2023, and those are some of our janky cars that we go mess around with at the track with, and if you guys have any questions, if we didn't get into something, or if you have a question about something we did get into but didn't get into it the way you wanted, let us know. It'll be fun. Thank you, my dear.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Captain's log supplemental.
So, Bill, guess what?
What?
We did the Sentinel. We did the Sentinel.
We did.
How did you like it? You know what? We were talking about the Sentinel.
We have.
It was great. We understood watching how the Sentinel works, but we finally got it into our car, and I got to tell you, that was really awesome. I was able to see every one of my mistakes.
We have hours of them.
We have hours of my mistakes, but we have hours of good stuff too, which is awesome. It actually showed us the speed. Did it show us where we were on track?
We were streaming it.
We were streaming it live.
Boring billions of people across the world.
But it was pretty incredible. Plus, on it, you're able to put your insignia, your logos on your app also. And the clarity was amazing. It was really easy to put in. Easier than I thought it was.
I know, you kept making a big deal out of it. I'm like, it's really not that hard. Until we focused on it, it wasn't too bad. And then we got some help. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty good.
You know what? I like the stream because some of the tracks we go to don't have great cell phone coverage, but it's got a USB stick backup. So I just uploaded the high quality video without the cellular interruption. So if you watched us earlier and said, wow, they got from there to there really quickly, you can watch the real video and see that no, we didn't. It's just a cell phone went out. But
yeah. So the learning curve for me, obviously, I'm slightly techno Amish.
Slightly.
What slightly when it comes to the wiring and stuff like that, but we get it in and I love it. We were able to sit there right at the track and watch what we were doing in the car. And that was amazing.
Which was good because if you have a problem with your radio, you can tell, if something is going on that you need to know about. Like a couple times we've had cars come in and we didn't know they were broken. I know it's hard to imagine one of our cars being broken, but whatever. But you can watch the video, and even with the cell phone coverage we had at that particular event, it was like a 30-second delay. So it wasn't bad. And you can compare multiple drivers because you have each of the stints are broken up. So we got to work on not only our driving, but if we wanted to, we could work on our pit stops and see exactly what we do. And there's some things that we need to talk about as a team. And it was pretty good. Like I said, it takes me, once we got the wiring hooked up for the power, I probably could go from an empty shell to a full up setup running Sentinel. I could probably do that in like 20 minutes. So you could literally install it in a car before a race. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And we got to see the driver and the front windshield. And if we want to, we can have three. We can see backwards. Or one of the guys we were going to work with at the upcoming event, he said, could you put a camera on the driver's eyes so we could see what they're looking at? I said, why, yes, I can. Haven't done it yet, but I'll figure it out. I've got time.
Well, I love it.
All right, very well. That sounds like I can buy another one then. Woo! So welcome back to the Garage Heroes in Trading. We're going to do part B to the part A, which I still haven't edited, but I'm working on it. Miss Vicky.
Yes.
When last we left off, we had lost the keys to the Honda Fit, so that didn't go.
Yes.
And then we took the BMW.
Yes.
And little did we know.
Yes.
That was the highlight going into the weekend.
Yeah. Well, there was good optimism.
Was it? Optimism. Okay. Yeah.
There was optimism that was that car headed out.
To Mid-Ohio.
Everything was secured. Yep. Everything was ready to go. And then I get a phone call in the middle of my day that
day one.
Yep. The wobble was still there.
The wobble was still there.
Okay.
So we were going to park it.
Yeah. So then what happened?
Well, then I started talking and we started to come up with, we're at a track and it could be this. So let's test it while we're here. So we said, well, listen, if the wobble rattle is coming from the front and it's related to the tires or the rims or the way they're mounted or anything like that, we'll put the front ones in the back and the back ones in the front. And if the wobble moves with that, at least we know what it is.
Right. Because basically the vibration was coming from center forward.
That's what it felt like.
About like from what they're saying, it was happening where the driver's seat was. And as I like to reiterate before, we've been still working and trying to figure the car out and work out the kinks in this car. So this was the first time that we've actually third time to the track with it. But this is the first time when we had gone to New Jersey, we had gotten it up to 80 miles an hour. Because before we were still kind of working things out. So yeah. So
our test driver, Tim Fokine, goes out for lap number 1 during one of the HPDE events that we're there. I was instructing. Tim was what was he doing? He was the instructor for HPDE 1 that graduated students, which my student graduated.
Excellent. Congratulations.
I did nothing. I got in the car for the first stint and said, you're not an HPDE 1. You should be an HPDE 2. So it was nothing that I did, but I got to drive with somebody who was safe and good. So it was an easy weekend for me. So I go up, I take a picture of Tim going out thinking we got this. The plan was if it vibrated in the back, life is good. You can keep it out unless you feel like it's harsh and then bring it in. So I'm up there and I'm watching and I see like the pack go by. I'm waiting.
No.
Waiting. Still waiting.
No.
Yep. So let's listen. I never told you this part of the story. So,
Okay.
it started to wobble going out the, I don't know, it's the straight going into Keyhole. So Tim's like,
Mhm.
oh, well, that's not it. So he goes around Keyhole and goes towards China Beach. And boom, turns out that the drive shaft explodes about 2/3 of the way back. It's a single piece drive shaft. So there's, with no drive shaft, you have no drive. So he pulls off to the right. Now, as you know, NASA Great Lakes in their HPDEs like to throw tests randomly throughout the weekend.
Right.
So this was, Tim had to go get towed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the hook of shame. Actually, the flatbed of shame, because it
The flatbed is shake.
flatbed of shame. Yes, not a waterbed, flatbed. So guess what drill was being done on this particular HPDE session?
Which was?
The red flag drill.
Oh no.
So we had one of the students there who panic stopped on the back straight in the middle and stopped.
Uh-huh.
And then you don't panic stop on a red flag. You control stop, turn off to the side, either side. Some tracks it's one side, either side within sight of a flag station. Panic stop, middle of the track, high speed area. Car tries to avoid him, goes into the grass. Car tries to avoid him, who was passing the car that had to avoid him, and goes further into the grass. So it's a calamity. It's just like Three Stooges out there because our drive shaft broke. But anyway, so we get the car off the flatbed. I have pictures of shame, and the car's making a clunky sound, and we're like, oh, maybe it's the rear diff. Maybe it's, because we haven't looked under the car yet. Or I talked to the tow truck driver. I'm like, well, are there pieces out there, or do we have most of it? And he's like, well, I didn't see anything, so I think you have most of it. So in the end, we end up looking under it, and the drive shaft is sheared, and it was a single piece drive shaft. So no drive shaft around. Not going to repair this one. This is beyond Bill wearing knee pads. So put the car away. Life is good. Life is great. It was the end to a great weekend. It was fantastic.
No, it was not.
What? There's more?
It was not.
What? We're done. I didn't drive anymore. I didn't drive the car anymore.
No. So anyway, I am personally on my end freaking out because I keep thinking, what have I done? To the car. I went and I had this thing balanced, and I did have the CV joint put on. I had my friend put and balanced, yes. So I had my friend Jaden. He was visiting the garage, and he and his brother had put it on. So I'm just thinking everything was fine.
Yeah, this was talked about in the part A, right before you broke the lift.
Right. Which, by the way, my part came in for the lift, so we'll be getting that fixed too.
Hopefully.
So, but anyway, because of that, I kept thinking, what else could I have checked? Maybe I should have checked more along the channel between the transmission, engine mounts, and all the way back down to the diff. That's all I kept thinking. All day, that's all I kept thinking. And then I get a call from Bill. Well, actually, I don't get a call from Bill. I call Bill. And I'm like, because he had left early, I think.
A little early.
A little early. And I noticed that he was more than halfway home. So I'm like, okay. So I got on and I called him and I said, hi, Bill, how are you doing? He goes, not good. And then he basically said, I can't talk right now. So I'm like, okay.
I had just started fixing it.
Yes. So Bill, tell them what happened.
Nothing. It was just a smooth drive.
No, it was not.
You take 80 most of the way. So I was on 80. And so doing my normal, towing speed, which is probably not the speed I'm supposed to be doing, but 75. Thought I was doing nice. Thought it was good. And a truck with a Texas plates pulls next to me as I'm passing it and beeps his horn. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? I don't know if this is beep beep, how you doing, or beep beep, you're a jerk. So I usually just the easiest way to get everything to a bigger confrontation is to look at them. So I just give them a wave, keep looking straight
Hey,
ahead.
how you
Life is good.
doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I pull up in front after I pass the car that was in front of them. Then they pull up next to me. They give me the beep beep and the point to the back, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. So great gentleman and his partner were there, and she was waving me back, and she wasn't waving me back in like a hey, maybe you want to stop at some point in your day. She was pointing me back with a little more. It's kind of like the difference between a yellow flag being held out and gently waving in the wind, and a yellow flag being like flipped around, like they're trying to dry the thing off for yeah. So I pull over and they pull over with me, and yeah. Well, you saw
So
what it
what
looked like.
happened? All right. So basically, the picture that Bill had sent me was that the back ratchet straps either had come loose or
I have
broke.
I have a theory.
And the car rolled forward on the open trailer to where the front tires came off and were now the nose of the car was resting on the tongue.
The jack.
Right. It was a tongue of it, and then the bumper was wrapped around the crank of the jack system.
That's not how I left, just in case you were curious.
That's not how you no, I'm thankfully that's not how you left the track. It's amazing that you didn't notice that it happened because
Well,
that yeah.
well, upon further review, after
Uh-huh.
after relaxing a little bit, and
Right.
remember, I'm doing this on the side of the road of Route 80, and there's 18 wheelers just ripping right by me, and you're calling me up saying, hey, how you doing? So I wanted to get off the phone. So prior to passing the truck that helped me out, there was another car that passed me, and let's see, what do we refer to it when we're on track? Came across my bow
Okay.
because apparently a foot was plenty of
Right.
space, so I jammed on the brakes really hard, and everything was fine. And then before I was passing the car that stopped me, I gently slowed down, and I think that's when the car rolled forward. So theory is, because some of the toe straps were dragged on the ground and wrapped around things, so it's hard to tell exactly. But it looks like when I jammed on the brakes, one of the hooks that goes into the strap
Mm-hmm.
started to stretch or tear there,
Mm-hmm.
and that unhooked itself. It gave it enough slack, so it unhooked. So the second time I slowed down, the car was
Mm-hmm.
not longer hooked in the back and just started rolling forward.
Yes.
So that's my theory.
Yes. So damage. Um
Wait.
okay.
Coming soon to a podcast near you, we're going to have
Yes.
a trailer and towing episode.
Yeah.
Obviously, we will be having a guest. Come on,
Yes.
because we don't know how to do this.
No. So um yeah, so anyway, the car showed up and
Mhm.
actually Bill had dropped it off, came home, disgusted,
Mhm.
kissed me and went to bed. And that was
Mhm.
it. He
Mhm.
didn't even say anything. So I
I was
woke up
done.
early. Yeah, I woke up early next morning and I went down and I saw everything. And I called Alan, my friend, and he's like, "Oh, it's just fine. This is what you got to do. No problem." So I got the rolling jack out, and I have some big blocks of wood, and then I put the frame on wood, also, so it actually allowed the car to slide, and then it shifted So the wheels went back closer to
The
the
rails.
trailer where it would go, where they would normally rest. And then while the truck was still attached, I had one of the guys that works at the airport come around, and he helped me pull the car back onto the trailer, and we just rolled it off. Of course, it's going ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk because of the drive shaft, so we rolled it back in. Um, Damage was that I had to, when I was freeing it from the trailer, um, the bumper had wrapped itself, the car had wrapped the bumper around the jack system. And I was more worried as it was sitting if there was any further damage. Unfortunately, the only damage that happened was that, of course, we need a new bumper because I had to cut that to get it free. Because I was able to remove it only so far, and then it was not going to, it was wrapped around it. And then the jack, on it. So I cut the bumper loose, got it off. And then internally, the only damage that I had seen was just on the fabrication for the radiator
Support.
and the radiator support
Mhm.
and the oil cooler. The oil cooler was fine. The radiator is fine. The engine is fine. The fan in the back is fine. But the fabrication, there's a little column that's in there that holds top to the bottom, and along the bottom, some metal is bent, but that column has to be TIG welded back on. So yeah, we are going to, that was the only damage that we had to do. We had to get a new bumper, and that was it. But we were very lucky, very, very lucky. Because Bill could not get that car rolled back on the way it was. He could not get the car rolled back on. So he had to drive it home as it was
Resting on the triangle.
resting on the triangle, but you did try to remount it a little bit, but yeah, as best they could, and he just limped it the last hour home.
The last hour, that took 3 hours.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
it took a long time to get here.
It did.
So
that
was not good
for those playing the home game
in training.
If you remember, yeah, true. If you remember the Woody Woodpecker, if Woody would have gone to the police, this never would have happened.
That's right.
So remember the root cause of why this happened?
No.
We lost the key to the fit.
That is not the root cause of the failure of the ratchet straps breaking.
Why was the car there? Because the fit wasn't there.
It doesn't matter. You could have done that. You could have done that with the fit.
Anyway, no, because the fit weighs less, so it wouldn't have done this. So,
oh yeah, and
so guess where the key was on the fit?
Yes, it was hanging right where it should have been.
Yes.
And why did we not find it?
Because we were stressed, hurrying, and tired.
And the key itself on a fit does not look cut.
Yeah, it's got a metal.
It does not look like a cut
popsicle
key.
Stick with two keys kind of carved into the surface, but not into the edges.
Right.
So it looks like a popsicle. It looks like a blank as opposed to a key.
Right. So I never lost the key in the first place.
No. Great days.
Yeah.
Great days. Great days.
Right. So we have a second
too.
key done. Yeah.
So what did we learn from this? We learned that you too can do this if you had your own podcast and we're in training. And we also learned that the podcast that we've been putting off for the past 3 or 4 months with a guest coming on to help us with how to tow and pack and tie down, and perhaps we should move that up in the order, and whether our listeners need to learn it or not, maybe we should have that soon.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So if anybody wants to call or write in,
if we're not that desperate
with things that we could have or should have done, or if you just want to make fun of us, garageheroesintraining@gmail.com is your normal spot. And look forward to a podcast coming up. Obviously, we will be hosting, not guesting or experting on how to tow and back and forth from the track, because as we always said, the track is the safest place in your entire trip. But
It really is.
we didn't need to prove it again, but we did. So
Yeah, it was bad.
I did have a great weekend while I was at the track, not driving my car. Yeah,
Going out instructing.
Yes. Good to see everybody. Nice to see Great Lakes people again. Haven't seen them in a while. And my student was excellent, and it was the result of zero of my effort or skill. So always good. So remember, the key to being a great student is not trying to impress your instructor. Don't do that. So, my dear, that wraps up the prep status for all of our cars in the one hangar that are the race cars. We've got some other cars we need to talk about, but that will be in part B of part B, because this was part B of part A, but this will be in part B. And you really need to get rid of those eyebrows that keep flicking. But anyway.
Oh, okay. A little context, please.
It's in the first episode. So
yeah.
She has Zoom set with these eyebrows that keep winking.
And I can't figure out how to get them off yet.
But you figured out how to put them on, but that's fine.
I did. I got to figure out how to get them off.
All right. Very well. Well, until we tow again, until the next episode.
Yep.
Have fun.
All right.